Councilman is not here yet. Wait 1 moment, please. It's fast.
Yeah, no, it's slow. No, it is. I said it's not April.
There you go.
Oh, here he is.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order for Town Board Regular Meeting number 20 for November 7th, 2016. Roll call.
Councilman Billico?
Here.
Councilman Aronica?
Here.
Councilwoman King? Here. Councilman Madigan?
Here.
Supervisor McNerney?
Here. The invocation will be done by Trinity United Methodist Church, Reverend Dr. Sung Ho Lee, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Ray Billico.
Please join me in prayer. This evening we come to work together. We might bring different interests with different perspectives and different ways of thinking. In spite of all differences, help us to work together to build our community a better place for all. It is not an easy task, so we ask you to grant us the spirit of mutual understanding. Help us listen before speaking. Strive to understand from another's point of view. Disagree without being disagreeable. Speak about issues and do not defame people. Tonight we pray for the election. We pray for discernment so that we may choose leaders who hear your word, live your love, keep in the ways of your truth, and guide us to your kingdom of justice and peace. Bless us to be united in one spirit and join together in growing our country, a stronger country under the new leadership. We pray in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Lee. All right, can I ask the town board to join me up in front? We have 2 proclamations today. Can I ask the folks from the Small Business Saturday, is anyone here from that group? No one's here from that group. First proclamation is for the Small Business Saturday group. The town of Grand Island celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. Don't bite. There are currently 28.8 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of all businesses with employees. So this group essentially is a group that celebrates and supports small business. We give this proclamation today to help encourage everyone here in attendance and everyone in Grand Island to frequent our local shops and restaurants and other places of business on the island. So here's the proclamation. So next, can I have, I think there's 2 representatives here today.
Carrie
Say it again. Carrie Nowak, can you please come on up? I'm a little afraid of Miss Nowak because she's my son's principal. I gotta be on my best behavior. Huth Road Elementary School and Huth Road PTA recognized nationally as a school of excellence. Whereas National PTA launches National PTA School of Excellence program to help strengthen family-school partnerships across the country and make measurable progress in the areas of education, health and safety, and arts, and cultural exploration. As a National PTA School of Excellence, families at Huth Road feel welcomed and empowered to support student success. And the PTA is a key partner for continuous school improvement. So here we have the PTA president and the principal. This is a huge achievement for the school. I'm proud my son goes to school at Huth Elementary. And with that, I want to present this proclamation from the town board. Thank you so much. And thanks all you guys for I'll see you tomorrow. So we'll begin the public comment period on agenda items only. As always, we ask you to stick to the agenda items and not to deviate and to go into anything that may be not on the agenda. Please state your name. You do not have to state your address, just state your name and come to the microphone. We're going to leave comments at 2 minutes. So with that, we'll begin the public agenda item comment period.
Well, I'm gonna do something that nobody else is. I'll break the ice here. My name is Lee Cohen, I live on Hennepin Road, and inasmuch as you have somebody from the buildings and from the traffic commission, I want to say that I hope Whitehaven Road is going to get penciled in sooner rather than later.
Good evening. Dave Riley, and I'd like to raise a concern about item number 10, the trapping issue. My concern is that information hasn't been provided to the public on this. If you look at the issue, there was a letter from Parks and Recreation that came from their meeting in October. There was a letter from the Conservation Advisory Board that both offered recommendations to the town board on this issue. There was a letter that I wrote raising concerns that the application request violated DEC regulations and that it also violated the town's own code. None of these were included as part of the agenda packet for tonight. And it's unfathomable to me that when we've had hundreds of signatures on this issue, serious concerns about the question of what trapping means on public land. Remember, this is not a question about private, it's about public land. It's about the people's land, our opportunity to do what we choose with this land, and we have no information whatsoever on what's being considered in terms of these trapping issues. At the Conservation Advisory Board meeting of October 27th, Councilman Bilica put up a map and referenced 7 to 14 locations that he could imagine where trapping could occur. That information has not been provided to the public. Today's workshop meeting, it was mentioned that Ron Rezabek, a member of the Conservation Advisory Board, created his own list of possible locations where trapping could occur. Again, none of this information has been made available to the public. If the town is already considering specific locations where trapping could occur, we have a right to know this. We have a right to know where you're looking at. We deserve a map. We deserve specific locations and the parameters by which those would happen. There were hundreds of people, as I said before, that came out and raised their concerns about this issue. The town board owes it to the citizens. They owe transparency to the process for the citizens and to allow people to understand where the town is considering allowing trapping. Thank you.
Good evening, Nicole Gerber. I'm again regarding the review of the trapping permit application I'm speaking to tonight. First, I want to thank both the Parks and Rec Advisory Board and the Conservation Advisory Board for the time review and actual discussions that they had at both their recent meetings as they reviewed the applications. That shows that a process is being followed, and I request that that process continue to be followed as any resubmitted applications should go back to the Conservation Advisory Board. If you look at the law, it mentions any impacts of the proposed permit take into consideration the health, safety, and welfare of the community, the surrounding land uses, and the current and potential use of the property. That is an objective that should be followed by Conservation when they review this resubmitted application. They need to consider such things as what happens with the benefits of species, populations, trophic cascades, ecosystems, impacts on the wildlife in our natural environment. Specifically, things such as beavers. Trapping for beavers, they're a keystone species, which actually provide for wetland benefits and diversity. And thinking of trapping non-target species that could be impacted would be those threatened or endangered species in New York State, such as bald eagles, owls, hawks and peregrine falcons. So there's a lot of considerations that the Conservation Advisory Board should take into account when looking at any trapping application, and specifically if anything's resubmitted. For each parcel that's requested, Conservation to take the due diligence to use scientific research and analyze those impacts on our natural ecosystems and our environment. So I thank you for your time and consideration.
Roy Shipman, 2020 Fix Road, Grand Island, New York. 3 months ago, Josh started this process for this trapping permit. 3 months ago. When he asked 3 months ago for the trapping permit, there was nothing prepared, nothing started. And the town drug its feet. The only one knowledgeable of trapping is Josh, who won the New York State Trapper of the Year Award. And he's not been consulted once on trapping. A year ago, we had 2 individuals walking in a farmer's field that had no idea what trapping was and made claims that it was an unsafe practice, but they had no idea, and they still had no idea. The state of New York says you can trap within 100 feet of a school, a house, a playground, or a church. This is the state of New York. DC regulations, 100 feet from those places. Do you think the state of New York is going to place people in hazardous places if they can trap 100 feet from somewhere? Come on. Let's get real. The law has been drawn. We fought hard. The hundreds of people that were against it have been silenced. The hundreds of people for it won out in the law. I appreciate the fact that you continue to fight. I don't understand why the Parks and Recreation Board, in their diligent work, made all the town land a park. Give me a break. Conservation Advisory Board, great points. The application was a bust. You guys did a poor job in preparing it. Josh and I agree with that. Everyone agrees with it. But the process is already set. 3 minutes? All right. Josh has waited 90 days for this process to start.
I gotta cut you off. 2-minute mark. I apologize.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Rose Bookman. I just finished reading your Facebook comments about the flyer that went out. My question is, I don't know if you deliberately manipulate what you're saying or if you even realize what you're doing when you write some certain things. Like, for example, I read a quote, and I will find it because I collect everything, and I think it was with the New York report, or the Niagara Falls Reporter, where you had talked about and Grand Island being the same size as Manhattan, that we could bring in with the Spike Hat, and I've asked you about it before, millions and millions of visitors and millions of dollars to be made by it. So when I read that this is an attack and claim that I want millions of visitors to overtake the river, and you talk about where they want to put the park, this is a bike path, not a park, and that we're deliberately misleading people, I find that very unfair to me. I also want to challenge the traffic study that was done because it was only done at the north and the south end, and a lot of traffic comes out of Staley Avenue lefts, and they some of them live on the island, some don't. They go from there to Whitehaven. I think it's flawed. You should be checking all the traffic, just not what enters the north or exits the south, or vice versa. The biggest question I have, and I put it to you 3 times, and you promised to answer it and you haven't yet, is that why, aside from financial, are you so intent on closing that parkway? Because when I look at it, as you know, I think Delaware North and the trickle down of all the people that handle the Parks Department, and to me it looks like conflict of interest. I know you disagree, but you have never. It's up. Oh, Bill?
I'll answer you later.
No, you said that last time.
I'm doing my best not to engage. This is your opportunity to speak, not my opportunity to speak.
Well, you usually do.
We're changing that.
All right.
I'll blame, yes, Ray, thanks, Ray. I'm not gonna, but we're trying to make it better. My fellow councilmen have called me out not to talk, so I'll shut up.
Okay. But when will you tell me?
How about we talk after the meeting? I think I've been pretty clear, but we'll talk more.
My name's Dick Garland, I live on Grand Island here. I had one question for the supervisor. My question is, when does your current term expire? Could you please answer that?
We'll talk later. Thanks.
Pardon me?
We'll talk later.
You can
Thanks.
answer that one. That's an easy one, that's okay.
I think you know. You're like an educated man. You think you should.
I'm very educated, but I want to know the answer from you. When does your current term
You and I
expire?
will be discussing things and have heated debates for the next 3 years.
Does that mean you can't answer the question?
That means I just answered your question. This is exactly what we're not going to do. We're not going to have debate. If you have comments to make, please make them.
I didn't come up here to debate, I just came up here to ask you a simple question, and I wanted a simple answer.
The term is 4
years, sit
That's enough, come on.
This is America.
Listen. This is your opportunity to come to the microphone, to state your position. This is not a dialogue. We're going to try our best to do that going forward, not to have a dialogue or debate. If you ask me a question, we can talk after the meeting. We can talk at some other point. This is an opportunity for those in attendance to come to the microphone and to express their views. Are there any other comments on agenda items? Okay, with that, I will move to the public hearing on the budget. I will open the hearing on the budget. First, I'll read the summary and I'll ask for public comment. Oh, sorry. You want to come up?
Yes,
On
my
the
name
budget
is,
item? Can I read the budget item first? Barb, I'm just going to read the budget first. I apologize. Okay. So the Town of Grand Island summary of appropriations, tax levies, and tax rates for budget year 2017. General fund budget. Total appropriation amount, $7,786,535. Amount to be raised by taxation, levy, $2,335,302. That's an estimated tax rate decrease per thousand of $1.397, which is about 7%. Fire protection budget, total appropriation amount, $1,329,905. Amount to be raised by taxation, $1,290,855. Estimated tax rate per thousand, $0.742, which is a 7% decrease. Highway fund budget, total appropriation amount, $3,482,313. Amount to be raised by taxation, levy, is $2,732,000. Estimated tax rate per thousand, $1.634, which is a 7% decrease. Sewer district fund budget, total appropriation amount, $3,834,713. Amount to be raised by taxation, levy, $1,064,600. Estimated tax rate per thousand, land value only, $4.250, which is a 7% decrease. Increase, I apologize, increase. Water district fund budget, total appropriation amount, $2,858,563. Amount to be raised by taxation, levy, $710,584. Estimated tax rate for 1,000, land value only, $2.019, which is a 4% decrease. Lighting district budget, total appropriation amount, 53 districts, $210,280. Amount to be raised by taxation levy, $186,842, which is a 6% increase.
Haven't attended many meetings. I'm here, my name is Barbara Gannon, and I am the department head of the Town of Grand Island Senior Center. I'm also here on behalf of Joe Mentor, who is the department head for the Recreation Department. He's unable to be here because his mother has taken ill, and they're seeking medical help. Basically, what we want to convey to the town board is that we have taken on many responsibilities since the the recreation director has retired, and we have been responsible for doing the budget, for interviewing employees, sending them to the board for approval. We have supervised our staff, and we've made programs. But if you would consider that, I would appreciate it. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Miller. I am a labor relations specialist with CSEA. We are one of the public employee unions that represent the hardworking, dedicated Grand Island town employees. I'm here tonight to once again ask you to consider the salary scale upgrade for the two recreation supervisors in the CSEA bargaining unit. As we've discussed several times before over the course of the last year, your recreation supervisors are completing many of the duties previously performed by the recreation director. In addition to the duties that Barb mentioned, they also develop the annual department budgets, they evaluate the staff and deal with the staff when there are problems, and they work with vendors that provide services to the center, repairs and such. Those are just a few of the many duties that they have taken over since your recreation director has departed service with the town. The Golden Age Center, as you know, serves 600 to 100 or more seniors every day. The recreation department serves thousands of children and adults over the course of the year. These services greatly enhance the quality of life for all Grand Island residents. And I'm sure many people would say that it's one of the things that make this island home and one of the reasons that they live here and like living here. Upgrading the recreation supervisors to the level of a department head is reasonable and appropriate. They have dedicated their careers to the people of this town, and they should be compensated for the work. Once again, I'd like to ask you to please consider including funding for the upgrade in the 2017 budget. Thank you.
Are there any more comments on the budget? I'll close the public hearing on the budget, and I will now entertain a motion to approve the Town of Grand Island budget as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call on it? Let's roll call.
Belica,
Aye.
Veronica, Kinney, Madigan,
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. So moved. So, moving on, I will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. We received the following. I'll entertain a motion to accept the past minutes from regular town board meetings number 19 as well as the workshop meetings number 45 through number 53.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. We received the following: vehicle and facility usage reports of the Golden Age Club for September, meeting minutes from the Board of Architectural Review, meeting minutes from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for September, meeting minutes from the Long Range Planning Committee for September, list of building permits for October. Are there any communications from the town board for the consent agenda? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Veronica, Kinney, Belica,
Aye.
Madigan,
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. Sorry, Patty, I needed a second to read this. Communications from my office. I have from my office is the monthly report of monies received and dispersed for September. Please note that it is received and filed. And then Ray, there's a communications from Ray Billica regarding the trapping permit application.
Yeah, the trapping permit that was presented to the town and is to be reviewed by the town board after communication from Conservation Advisory Board. After discussion in the workshop, I would like to make a motion to table that item.
Is there a second? Any discussion on this? Roll call?
Billika?
Aye.
Kinney? Aronica? Madigan?
Aye.
McMurray?
Aye. Communications from Mike Madigan?
So for those that aren't aware, there is a public meeting that's being scheduled, a workshop, it's a town board meeting this Wednesday, 6 p.m. regarding the Parkway project, the multi-use path. My speaker's a lot louder than usual today, sorry. Right now, it's scheduled for the library at 6 p.m. We're actually looking at a different location. We're considering the high school. We do have confirmation that it's available, but we have to settle a couple other things. The announcement will probably come out first thing tomorrow, indicating that the venue will be changed, but yet to be still confirmed. Right now, it is the library. In the event that we do move it, we'll put a sign out in front of the library so that people are aware of it. And hopefully, if you could spread the word that we're going to be moving it, it'll be on our website, the announcement, and we'll also try and put it out in other methods to get the word out as far as the change of location. One thing to be aware of, this will be a town board workshop meeting. So it's very important that you're respectful at the meeting, you're quiet. It's not for public comment. There will be no pre and post comment session as part of the meeting. We want to put our best foot forwards. I'm very optimistic in terms of the state's really committed to partnering with the town of Grand Island and to as well taking the community's input. This is a multi-use path project, and I'm hoping that I'm optimistic that the state is taking our feedback and is aware that of our position is a majority of the town board being opposed to the closure of the parkways. And we'll see what the outcome is. Regardless, we need to be respectful. We want to continue to improve the relationship we have with New York State and work with them to come to some kind of an agreement on what the best approach is going forwards. So help us so that we can work constructively in that meeting, and hopefully you hear what the outcome is, and hopefully it's a good outcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Madigan. Well said. Communications from JT and the Highway Department. The Highway Department is asking for permission to sell at auctions some surplus equipment as listed in your packets. Is there any comments on it? Well, first I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments on that? Roll call?
Billika?
Aye.
Aronica?
Aye.
Kinney? Madigan?
Aye.
McMurray?
Aye. Communications from John Whitney in Engineering. John is requesting that John Podlucky be appointed to fill Charlie McDonough's vacated position at wastewater department laborer year 3 with a pay rate of $21.20 an hour, effective November 8th, 2016. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Billika?
Aye.
Madigan?
Aye.
Aronica? Kinney? McMurray?
Aye. Patty, can you read the motion pertaining to delinquent water and sewer accounts for 2017? Okay.
From John Whitney, the town engineer. The resolution reads, whereas the department head, Department of Engineering and Water Resources did notify consumers within the respective water and sewer districts on Grand Island by having the wording, if not paid by October 31st, arrears will be on tax rolls, printed on the water bills sent out quarterly, and the copy of the bill is attached. Therefore, now be it resolved that the following approximate amounts be applied to the tax roll of 2017. For the water account, $208,135.81. Sewer, $284,314.52. Out of district sewer, $909.46. Meters, $4,152, and miscellaneous charges, $250. Be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to accept no payments of such delinquent accounts after the said last date of October of 2016.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Veronica.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Belica.
Aye.
Madigan.
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. John is recommending we reject, John Whitney, the town engineer, is recommending that we reject all bids received for job number M-66-15 to build a Veterans Park Pavilion due to the fact that the bids are all significantly over budget. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. John Whitney needs to authorize me, the supervisor, to sign the professional services agreement for the water system capital improvement plan. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Kenny.
Aye.
Belica.
Aye.
Veronica. Madigan.
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. So this next part is gonna be kind of brutal. We're gonna go through these each one by one, I think. Patty, that's right, correct?
You should.
Okay. So communications from the Code Enforcement Office. We need to grant approval for the following special use permits for the following properties to be renewed. Western New York Towing by Marty's, 1733 Baseline Road for a motor vehicle repair shop. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Second one, National Fuel, 1589 Stony Point Road for a natural gas regulator metering station. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number three, Jennifer Tyrone, 993 Whitehaven Road for keeping of 4 agricultural animals on 5 acres. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jeff Matthews of 2389 Whitehaven Road for motor vehicle repair services for M2 zone. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
John Ventry of 3440 Stony Point Road for keeping 1 agricultural animal on 2 acres. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Can you skip 5?
5? Did I skip Jeff Matthews? I think I covered it all.
We're on the
Oh, I'm in the last one now. And
Tower one we just did.
a tower permit renewal for Verizon, 1639 West River Road. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 15, Mike, can you give us a report of the audit committee?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to pay the following amounts from the following accounts. The general fund, $46,104.44. The highway fund, $151,930.16. The sewer fund, $40,413.12. The water fund, $16,970.91. The capital fund, $197,057.78. The capital reserve, $3,898.26, for a total of
$456,374.67.
Sorry about that, I still have a bad eye, partial detached.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Are there any additional public comments?
Amy Williams. A couple things on the trapping permits, if you wouldn't mind. I tried to find out how much the permit fee is. I could not find it anywhere. Can someone tell me what it is?
There isn't one at this time.
There's no fee. Thank
We
you.
have not put one on the fee schedule.
Thank you. I think that the list of properties should be made available. also that if anything is approved, there should be some kind of public notification so that the people with adjacent lands know that there's a trail possibly right on their property line. I think that should be done. And also just to note that on the current application that was submitted, it's clearly noted that the trapper doesn't know what they're going to trap. Domestic, wild, they don't know what's going to be caught in that trap, and that's just all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doug Learman, Code Enforcement Officer for the town of Grand Island. For more than a year now, a couple of individuals have repeatedly attacked the actions and integrity of the Code Enforcement Department and me personally on social media and AM radio talk shows. While I do not have the time to engage anyone in a Facebook war, it appears that I can publicly counter some of the statements that have been made since remaining silent has not been effective. I'm going to start with Mr. Thompson's repeated claims that I had him evicted from the house he was renting on Bedell Road in 2014. He stated it was a directive from the town board, which is untrue. During the spring of 2014, while performing various inspections at a commercial project in the area, I observed a manufacturing operation was occurring from the front yard and garage of a single-family dwelling. On June 3rd, 2014, I issued a letter to the property owner with a copy to the tenant and the town board. It simply described the commercial activity being observed, cited there was no approval for such use, and requested the activity cease until the required approvals were obtained, further suggesting schedule a meeting with the town staff to discuss further. On June 6th, I heard from the agent or the owner. He advised he had spoken with a tenant who indicated that he had no intention of seeking any approvals from the town. Therefore, the agent was forwarding the letter to his attorney, and since the tenant was behind on the rent, he would probably be commencing the eviction process. I had several more conversations with the owner's agent where he updated me on the status until the tenant vacated the property in the fall of 2014. My point here is that Mr. Thompson was not evicted from the house he was renting by the town. According to the agent, he was evicted for failure to pay the rent. A couple Saturdays ago, Mr. Thompson went on the radio to speak about the former Dunlop building, which, as he correctly stated, has been an eyesore in Grand Island for 3 decades. He then proceeded to state that a developer had purchased the property and was proposing to convert the building into a Holiday Inn Express, which is also true. He then stated that the Building and Zoning Department was holding up the permit to commence the project and that we had been sitting on the project for months. It's important to note that a building permit is issued only after a proposed project is determined to be code compliant. What Mr. Thompson failed to mention is I have been working diligently with the construction manager and architect for the project for over a year, meeting with them both on numerous occasions to discuss various aspects of this project. Unfortunately, partially due to health issues and other unknown reasons, the architect has not been able to provide drawings for the project in a timely manner that demonstrated the project is code compliant. Mr. Thompson went on to state he had claimed we were too busy to do a code review, and continued on to state he only thought we'd issued about 300 permits this year. In reality, as of mid-October, we have issued over 500 permits with a total construction value of $34.6 million. While we have been busy, I have been performing code reviews in a timely manner, providing the architect and construction manager with detailed written summaries of items that need to be addressed to facilitate the issuance of a building permit for this project. Mr. Thompson then brought Carl Palladino into the conversation. Although I have never met or spoken to Mr. Palladino, in very short order they both determined that I was incompetent to do my job and that I should be fired. Carl even theorized that this project was too complicated for me simply because Grand Island is mostly comprised of residential construction. So what are my qualifications to be a code enforcement officer? I entered the construction field in the summer of 1978, working for a small contractor who performed residential and light commercial construction, stopping only to attend school and have been in the field ever since. I graduated 55 out of a class of 425 from Niagara Wheatfield High School in 1979 with a Regents Diploma with a scientific endorsement. I did well enough on the SATs to earn a Regent Scholarship. Following high school, I went on to SUNY at Alfred, where I earned...
Mr. Learman,
Yeah.
we're way over the 2-minute mark.
Yeah,
Can you summarize your comments?
I got a few more minutes.
No, well, I'm sorry, we're limiting it to 2 minutes.
Should we allow him?
I think it kind of goes to current events and...
If the board can allow them to have more time if they like.
I think this is a little bit different than a public comment.
Thank you. I went on to SUNY at Alfred, where I earned an associate's degree in architectural technology, making the deeds list. After college, I returned to working for the same contractor as before until September of 1981, when I had an opportunity to work on a little project on Lake Ontario known as the Somerset Power Project. While I was there, I had a front row seat to what large-scale construction was about. I observed 4 and 5 foot thick concrete walls being constructed, numerous buildings being constructed all at once, including one that was 10 stories underground. That required a blasting and removal of rock to complete, as well as a continuous concrete pour for a 600-foot high chimney. After almost 2 years, our portion of the project was winding down. I declined an offer to work with the contractor because they were traveling from here to Colorado and as far south as Texas. So I returned to work for a local contractor, increasing responsibility from just craftsman's duties to estimating, modular home sales, and foreman's duties. In 1984, I purchased a lot on Grand Island, and in 1985, I constructed the house in which I still reside. In 1987, I was hired by the town engineering department, where I gained valuable experience in public works projects. This included both the design and inspection of roads, storm drainage, water lines, and infrastructure such as pump stations, as well as basic knowledge regarding the operation of water and wastewater plants. It was during this time period that I became familiar with the town hall and government in general, including the basic functions and interconnections with various town departments. In the spring of '91, I was hired by the town board to replace a retiring building inspector, the title which later changed by New York State Code to Code Enforcement Officer. It should be noted that the civil service requirements for this position are an associate degree in engineering construction, fire protection, architectural technology, or a high school diploma and 2 years experience in any of those aforementioned areas, including public health inspection, firefighting, or fire inspection. Since I had an associate degree in architectural technology and almost 10 years of construction experience, I was more than qualified. In August, I passed the civil service test with a rank of 1. In October of '91, I was certified by New York State to enforce the New York State Building Code, have annually completed the required continuing education requirements of 18 hours of approved continuing education courses. In April of 2002, I was recertified for the ICC-based codes which were implemented at that time. Currently, I think my almost 40 years of work in the construction field with my associate's degree in architectural technology, not to mention over 26 years actually performing the job of building inspector and code enforcement officer, adequately address the question of my qualifications. Regarding Mr. Palladino's comment about Grand Island being mostly residential community, I would like to respond by stating that with the exception of the Grand Island Public Schools, the state parks, and the post office, we have been responsible for overseeing all the commercial construction that's occurred on Grand Island since '91. Some of the larger, more complex projects that come to mind are numerous large additions and new buildings at the pharmaceutical campus on Staley Road, additions to St. Stephen's School as well as the new church, the current Tops building, the 3-story Marigold Senior Housing Complex, 3 different auto dealerships, an entire new campground, the first Tim Hortons Wendy's combo building constructed in New York State, 2 different veterinarian clinics, an 1,100-foot tall TV broadcasting tower, as well as one of the largest homes constructed recently in New York. The house has over 18,000 square feet of enclosed space, some unique features including being supported on steel piles, geothermal heating system, and a slate roof. My point being, while serving as the town's building and CEO for over 26 years, not to mention my previous experience, I've been exposed to a wide variety of buildings and structures, and am more than qualified to do the code review for the conversion of a 3-story office building into a hotel. I'm happy to state that after a 4.5-hour meeting in Buffalo on October 27th with the construction manager and the architect, enough issues were resolved to issue a permit to commence renovations of the 3rd floor and a permit was issued for that work on November 1st. Mr. Thompson has repeatedly stated that I have acted as a political hitman for the town board, attacking anyone they direct me to. Then he claims they are afraid of me because I'm the current president of some town hall employees union, which currently consists of 24 employees. Let's do the math. Over 20,000 people on Grand Island according to the last census. Doesn't seem very intimidating to me. Just unfounded rantings of an angry man consistently making false and often conflicting
Mr.
statements.
Ehrman, I'm gonna cut in. I understand your concern.
I'm down to the last sentence.
Well,
In fact, it's very clear to me that Mr. Thompson,
every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And I mean, we wanna make this a forum, but town board where we have people come in and air grievances.
in fact, it's very clear to me tonight that Mr. Thompson and Mr. Palladino's slanderous personal attacks are nothing less than politically motivated bullying. Shame on them for that. Thank you for letting me.
Okay? That'll close the hearing. Are there any comments from the town board? I'll start with Councilman Aronica.
I have nothing.
How about Councilman Billika?
Thanks for coming out tonight. Make sure you vote tomorrow.
Councilman Madigan?
Like Ray said, vote tomorrow and go Bills. You missed the go Bills.
Don't wanna know anything. Don't wanna know anything.
Okay. Councilman Kenny?
I agree with all the comments. Get out and vote tomorrow. It's important, no matter who you're voting for. It's important to exercise your rights. And go Bills too.
So a motion is in order to adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:48? 49?
So moved.
Second.
Please rise as we observe a moment of silence in memory of Desmond